Hello.
Oh my god, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I've been very busy the last
Bitch.
few weeks. I know you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, this is Hot for Justice, and I'm Jessica.
And I'm Jamie. And yeah, no, we've been a couple of busy little bitches the last few weeks. So, unfortunately, the podcast did go to the back burner. Um,
Yeah.
if, you were subscribed to my other podcast, you'd still have more of me. Shameless self-promo for why do you like this?
Yeah. I was actually going to be on that, like a week ago, but then I've been having some kidney pains, you guys.
Oh no! Well, actually, you were going to be on was going to be my second plug. Zach's podcast, my husband, which is called Weekend Plans.
Yeah.
And, that's
Covering
a lot
the
of like pop
Batch.
culture reviews and stuff like that. And yeah, we recap The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and now Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, I'll
we'll
come
have
on for an episode of that now that I'm feeling better, because
Oh hell yeah!
I was thinking I was going to need to go to urgent care there for a few days because
You were dying.
I know it's very oddly specific, but I was having kidney pains.
No, if you know, you know.
And I know
Like-
because I have had a kidney infection.
Right, and I was petrified that you were going to have another one.
I was kind of feeling like I was too, and yeah, so I feel better now though.
Oh, good. I was also concerned it might be like stones or something because one of my coworkers that happened to him and he had to go to the ER and like he's had to like totally like overhaul his whole like deal because of it.
I was a
It's a
little.
lot.
That's what I was thinking. I was like I was pretty sure I had kidney stones, but then I was also reading like if you were in manageable pain, you weren't throwing up or all of these other symptoms, then you could kind of just write it out. So I'm not sure if that's indeed what I had or if I was just dehydrated, but I was drinking a lot of water. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Whatever. Here we are. I'm gonna cover the case of a local missing man, actually.
Oh, like local to you?
Yes, local-ish,
Okay.
not to Lodi, but to where I grew up. And
yes.
this is actually really recent, and that's why I wanted to do this, because maybe somebody
like
has some
actionable.
information. Yes, because it's just really strange, and it's really sad. So, and actually, this prompted was because we went up to Pinecrest this weekend, and there were missing not flyers, but like banners around
shit.
and there's a reward, which I'll get into for credible, obviously, tips. So I think August,
Oh my god, there's money involved? Ugh. I mean, that gets people going. So,
it really does,
know,
unfortunately.
No, all jokes aside though, if you are in that part of California,
Calaveras, Tuolumne counties.
like keep your peepers peeled right now, okay?
Yes. So, and you can also get involved in some of the search parties that they're hosting because the family is organizing searches. And I'll get into that in a second. So, August 2nd, 52-year-old John Stivers unexpectedly disappeared. So it's just really strange, and the sheriff's department have classified it as suspicious, although they're not like coming out and saying that there is foul play involved. They're really unsure of what happened still, so everything is just speculation. I'm referencing a Union Democrat article by Giuseppe Recapito that came out about 2 weeks ago. So August 2nd was only 3 weeks ago, just to kind of put that into perspective. So this
Right.
man went missing only 3 weeks ago.
Jesus.
I'm going to kind of scroll down and kind of jump around a little bit because some of the information, there's of course some dialogue in here and such. So, she had been told that her husband was supposed to be going into work. That day they own the they own the Lake Tulloch campground and marina in Jamestown, California, which is pretty close to Sonora.
And
So-
I actually think I've camped there.
Have you? Yeah, it's
I'm
really
almost
pretty.
100% certain. So really quick aside, yeah, when I was a kid, like, I mean, really up until like a couple years ago, me and my family would go camping like all the fucking time. And it's what's really funny too is because Zach is also from like a nearby town
Yeah.
up there, and it's also on Lake Tulloch, and
Yes.
we like always say up, down, left, right, and center that that's the worst lake we've ever camped at.
Yeah,
shade. But...
Yeah, no. It's not. I mean, the lakes up there aren't my favorite. Just in general, they're not like super nice. I mean, but also we could go to Lake Tahoe if we wanted, and that's like the most perfect place on this planet.
So when you have like choices,
right?
Yeah, you could also go to like Mount Shasta or like Lake Berryessa, like all great fucking places. Like Lake Berryessa has my heart and soul. That's where my family's had property.
Yeah.
Since, I mean, before I was born.
Oh yeah. I know.
Like when my mom was born. Like that's
cool.
how old the property is.
Yeah.
So all that good stuff.
Okay, so they owned that campground in Marina.
Sorry, you can hear my puppies pitter-pattering to run upstairs to follow Zach. He just got home.
Adorable. So his wife, Michelle, said that there was nothing that appeared out of the ordinary when she last saw them. He was at home working. He was doing their payroll, I think it said, and some paperwork. So they had lunch together, and then he left to go to work. And he said that he was going to go to the bank in Sonora to make a deposit. And then she said he called her about 2 o'clock to let her know that he left their golf cart down, like at the clubhouse of their like community.
Right.
So they actually had plans for the next day, mentioning Lake Tahoe. They were supposed to go to Lake Tahoe
because Lake Tulloch sucks. I'm sure.
Yeah. Lake Tahoe is like unbeatable, honestly. And then there was they had a it says recreational vehicle, so it's so formal.
Like an ATV of sorts?
No, I'm thinking like an RV.
Like an actual, like a trailer RV situation.
Which is just
like
so formal. Yeah. So he was going to bring their camper home later that evening. But by 9 o'clock, she hadn't heard from him. So she said, like, it's not weird because, you know, they own a business. So sometimes stuff would come up and, like, he would have to be there late. But he wasn't responding to her calls or text messages. So she's thinking maybe his phone died. So she actually called down to the campground. And then the workers there had told her that he never showed up at all.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So his plan, like I had said, was to go from home in Copper to Sonora, which is probably about a 35-minute drive. And it's kind of...
I think I missed that this was like actually in Copperopolis.
Yeah, so where they live,
Zach just giggled because that's where the city he's from, or town, excuse me. It's not big to be a city.
It's not big. Yeah. So, yeah, it's from my understanding, isn't Lake Tulloch like in Copper, like ish area?
Oh, yeah.
So
no,
like
it 100% is.
It's. I think that their house is in Copper, and like he was gonna go to the marina where he worked after he went to the bank. That's what So
I will say that Marina does have a fabulous restaurant.
I've never been. But I have been in that area. I literally just drove through it. It's pretty back roads, and like the service is super spotty out there.
It's real bad. Like as someone who frequents there to go visit his family.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's pretty
very
bad
much so.
Up there. So she said immediately she called the sheriff's department, and then she was told that earlier that day his 2013 Chevrolet Express passenger van had just been found on the side of the road, and there had been no one in it. So that call, let's see, it was a suspicious vehicle call, so just essentially like an abandoned vehicle.
Right.
I'm trying to find what the street was. It says the van was found between 5 and 8:30 on Campo Seco Road in Jamestown. However, at the sheriff's office, there's the records. There was a suspicious vehicle call at 7:49 p.m. August 2nd at that road, Campo Seco Road and Seco Terrace Drive. So since then, there has been searches with the sheriff's department has put together searches, and the family has also put together searches. So they have, let's see, there has been, I read it in there. Oh, unmanned aerial vehicles, so UAVs, search and rescue personnel, and canines have searched that entire area. Because, your first thought is maybe he pulled over and got out for some reason, or like,
right,
something, maybe he fell and hurt himself and he's like out, because it's woodsy, like it's
100%. It's like hella trees.
Yeah,
like
You know, so
I
maybe
feel like
he just needed a minute, or I don't know. So
it's also like windy up there too. So like, you know, if you get car sick or, you know, whatever, like that's, I mean, it happens to me all the fucking time up there. So
yeah. So that's
maybe he
weird.
needed a minute, who knows? But yeah.
So they said that right now they're processing surveillance video and finishing forensic analysis to develop his timeline for that day of his activity and how his car ended up there. It's just really quite strange. And the sheriff's, like I had said earlier, the sheriff's department characterized this as suspicious, but there's no evidence that links it to foul play right now or a person of interest. They said that the van had no damage to it, so it wasn't like he got in an accident, pulled over, and something happened.
Right.
It looked normal. So they also, the families organized searches. They've had boats on nearby lakes, which include Maloney's Lake and Don Pedro. They've had airplanes flying over all of the lakes and the Chinese camp area, which is out kind of going towards Yosemite. They've had people on dirt bikes going behind Black Oak Casino, which is actually pretty far away. It's like up past, well, it's up in Sonora, but it's pretty far. People on horseback, and just like a lot of people looking. And the sheriff's department actually recommends not going alone. So if you want to get involved in that, there's a Facebook page where they're coordinating searches. But please be safe and don't go alone if you decide to go do that.
And we'll make sure to link that in all of the things in the description.
Yes. Yeah. So, they have a 14-year-old daughter. It's really sad. It's not like, it seems like he's not the person who would just up and leave his family.
Right.
So there's no information about any of his like phone data, but I don't think
that's really weird too.
Yeah, there is a sentence in here that says that at this time the sheriffs haven't uncovered any evidence of him being somewhere else. So I'm assuming that means they're tracking his bank records and whatnot. Though if he was going to make a deposit, I would assume he had some money on him. Although I wouldn't know how much, when you own a business, but. It's not like he drained their bank accounts and dipped.
Right.
And by all accounts, he seemed like, they had active plans for the next day, and he had a child,
that's
so.
Really weird if he just, like, up and dipped. But,
yeah,
like,
I mean.
If there's no.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So, also the fact that he went to go make a deposit is kind of weird, and then he goes missing, or before that he goes missing.
Like, what if he got robbed and then, like, I don't know, like, what do you mean there's, like, not enough evidence to, like, support a motive or a crime happened or whatever? Like, that's, like, the first place that my brain went was, like,
oh, yeah.
What if it was, like, a robbery or,
sure.
some sort of whatever
and
that went bad or maybe they kidnapped him. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I mean, I think these things normally don't happen there. Of course,
no, not
it's
at
so
all.
Small.
Like, this is fucking crazy. That's why when you like were this area, I was like, what?
Yeah. So there's the Facebook page we'll link called Find John Stivers page. There's also Sheriff's Office has a missing persons post on Facebook. There are like I mentioned, there are a lot of theories about what happened. Like, we're speculating right now. We don't know. Nothing has been verified. This news article points out that there are 8 missing persons from this area over the last 35 days.
Wow, that's a lot.
No, excuse me, 8 since May and 5 over the last 35 days.
That's still a lot.
It is a lot. So 2 of these people were associated with a homeless camp off of private land. They were reported May 11th, and there was Heather Jones, 26, was missing since August 3rd, which is the date that...
Day after?
Yeah. So the Stivers report also notes August 3rd as his date of disappearance, but he was last heard from August 2nd. And yeah, the 8 people that are listed are still missing. The Sheriff's Department isn't linking any of that together. They said that there's... really no reason to think that they're connected, which, it is a lot, but how wild, I don't know, it's random to put it together, so it's just kind of...
if there's nothing that is, like, an obvious identifier that would link them, then I guess, sure. but like, it's still weird. I feel like that's just like a lot of people, especially for up there. I mean, there's not a lot of people up there to fucking begin with.
Correct. So,
I mean, I'm sorry, but
no, it's true. It's true. So Michelle Stivers characterized her husband as resourceful and helpful and enthusiastic. They have owned that campground for 17 years. He was an ingrained member of the, community there. He was board member at the homeowners association from the area they live in. So, and as I mentioned, he had a daughter. So this is super sad. And if you have any information, they are asking you to contact the Sheriff's Office Investigative Division at 209-649-2900. John is described as 6'2". He is 215 pounds with salt and pepper hair and hazel eyes. The morning of his disappearance, he was wearing a dark green Stone Brewing shirt, jeans, work boots, and a large Tilly hat. So, yeah, actionable, recent. If you know anything, please say something. This poor family deserves to know what's going on. And I hope that they find him and he's okay.
Yeah, me too. Can you say the phone number one more time?
Yeah, it's 209... One second, let me scroll down. 694-2900.
So we'll have it in the description as well, just so that it's all
yes,
clickable and what have you, but
easy to access.
Correct.
Yeah. So you up, girl?
So mine's a little less recent. So this is coming from the Reddit machine.
Oh yeah.
And it is a post by the user Buckeye Blondie 13.
Okay.
And this was posted about a week ago from today's recording. Two sisters murdered, the 1974 unsolved case of Mary and Suzanne Recker. I know. So the author usually, covers cases from Ohio, hence Buckeye Blondie. But this one,
got it.
But this one actually comes from Minnesota. So Mary and Suzanne, some reports list her as Susan, but her gravestone says Suzanne, and we're inclined to probably believe that.
Yeah. I would hope.
They were 15 and 12-year-old sisters from St. Cloud, Minnesota. On Labor Day of 1974, the pair left their home at around 11:30 in the morning to go to Zayre's shopping center. Their last confirmed sighting is at the convenience store at around 1:30 in the afternoon. On September 28th of 1974, two teenagers discovered Suzanne's decomposing body in the grasses of a salt quarry outside of St. Cloud at 2 p.m. Mary was found 40 feet below the surface of the water, having been thrown off the side of the quarry at 6 p.m. that day. Suzanne had been stabbed 12 to 13 times, and Mary had 5 to 6 stab wounds. Mary was unclothed, and her clothes had been thrown into the water after she was.
How do they know what time she was dumped off the quarry?
I'm guessing probably by, analysis of the bodies, and, how I guess much water damage was done to them.
Can you tell me again how many days was that they went missing, they were last seen, and then they were found?
From Labor Day to September 28th, so about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Ish, Okay. And I also thought it was interesting, that again, like, I feel like dumping bodies, like, weeks later is a bit weird, but that's my own speculation.
Well, if they hadn't been dead that whole time, they were,
Well, so they were listed as decomposing bodies. So, I mean, kind of hard to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, in 2018, their mother, Rita Recker, confronted a possible suspect on his deathbed. A man admitted to St. Cloud Hospital for liver failure following years of alcohol abuse named Herb Notch had been a suspect in the murders for about 2 years into the investigation. He was 17 at the time.
Okay.
He had recently been arrested after kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, Sue Dukowitz, who worked at a convenience store in St. Cloud with another boy. Reportedly, the accomplice had no idea that Notch was intended to kill the young girl. He stabbed her and left her for dead, but thankfully she survived. The accomplice later agreed to an anonymous interview with Fox 9 in the 1980s, while both men were still in prison for the crime. The accomplice had stated that Notch had absolutely zero remorse for the crime that he had committed. He told reporters, the guy was hissing like a snake and talking like he wants to kill everybody.
Ew.
Yeah. So the year of the murders of the Rucker sisters, a friend of Notch, Russ Platts, had been working with Notch at the Zare Shopping Center, the same place from where they went missing.
Okay.
Platts was one of the teenagers who found the bodies of the girls. He remembers Notch sitting in the parking lot of Zare's on his day off, staring at passersby. Platts eventually asked Notch about the Rucker girls, and he said, Herb, did you know about this or have anything to do with that? I don't remember which way I worded it, but he went hiss, and that was the only response I got out of him.
What the fuck? If somebody hissed at me, I would probably be like, what are you doing? Are you okay?
If you hiss at me, I will smack you across the
Yeah,
face.
that's what I want to say, but I know I actually wouldn't do that, but I would want to.
I would probably do it. I would be
could
very
see you
inclined
doing it.
to actually smack somebody.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. It's weird, but okay.
Very weird. And then he reported this to the police, who in 2018 said that they remembered his report well.
Okay.
So Notch is also linked with two other murders of women in the 80s and 90s. He was given a psychological evaluation completed sometime after he was sentenced that described him as a very dangerous person, in the right situation, a homicidal individual. Notch insisted, that he passed a polygraph test in relation to the Rucker sisters' murders, but a detective noted that his test had come back inconclusive. Flash forward to 2018. 82-year-old Rita Rieger confronted 58-year-old Notch on his deathbed in room 549 of South St. Cloud Hospital. Honestly, power move.
Yeah, you go, girl.
He vehemently denied any involvement in the girls' murders. I give you my word I didn't do it, she reports. After asking why Rita wouldn't simply get over the murders of her daughters, he's stated tritely, I'm going to hell. There's no physical evidence linking Rucker to the case. Shockingly, in 2014, a victim of sexual assault brought up another interesting suspect. So, again, he's never been formally tied to it, but there's just it's all circumstantial evidence against him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, she said.
Do they note it? Do they note any other evidence that they might have? Do they have DNA?
Yeah.
Do they have fingerprints? Do they have anything?
I have more for you.
Oh, okay.
I even have more suspects.
Yay!
Georgianne Dreyer from St. Cloud, Minnesota, was attacked in the same quarry that the Rucker sisters were found only days after their murder in 1974.
Yikes.
The man, assumed to be in his late teens, identified himself as Lloyd, who was a traveling carnival worker. First of all, never trust a carny.
I was just gonna say, that's never good, is it?
No. I'm sure that there's some that are very well-meaning, but just don't fuck with carnies.
Listen, we just don't trust anybody we don't know. We stranger danger is real.
Stranger
that's
danger
what we gotta say.
is real.
That's what we gotta say.
We should put that on a fucking t-shirt. Anyways, if we even
ever do merch, we'll do that.
If we ever do merch again, remember we had those stickers for 5 minutes?
Oh, we did.
Yeah, I still have a few. It's our old logo, so I guess it's kind of a moot point. If anyone wants an OG Hot for Justice logo sticker, send me a DM.
Okay.
Send it to you for $1. I think it's what I charged for them last time, anyways.
Yeah, it's fair.
50 cents.
There you go. Boom.
Just cover the stamp.
Right? That's all we ask.
Yeah.
That's all Jamie asks.
Exactly. Anyways. So apparently Georgianne had willingly gone to the quarry with Lloyd after he asked if she knew of any good swimming spots. Okay. She says that she watched him come across the parking lot on a bike directly from the Zare Shopping Center. His mood suddenly shifted, and he sliced open her jeans with a knife. Ew. You do it or he die, she recalls him threatening. The man had a scar on his left eyebrow, During the assault, Lloyd described in detail many violent sexual fantasies, as well as an obsession with assaulting and hurting sisters.
No.
It took 40 years for the unknown assailant to be identified as Lloyd Welch, who is indeed a traveling carnival worker. 10-year-old Catherine Lyon and 12-year-old Sheila Lyon disappeared just outside of Washington, D.C. in March of 1975. In 2014, with the help of Georgianne Dreyer, Lloyd Welch, then a convicted sex offender, was named a suspect.
Damn.
The bodies of the Lyon sisters have never been found. There's additional articles linked about them in this Reddit post.
Okay.
But we're not going to like go into a bunch of
That
detail
right
about
now?
them.
Yeah. Okay.
At the time of his arrest in 2014, Welch was a suspect in numerous crimes across the entire United States. Dreyer reached out to law enforcement regarding her assault to name him as her perpetrator. She had known Welch's girlfriend, Helen Craver, and gave it to law enforcement, who found out that Welch and his girlfriend had traveled across the country together for many years. He pled guilty to first-degree murder for the Lyon sisters in 2017 and was sentenced to 48 years in prison, which I feel like is not a long time for two murders.
Should be life. I don't understand sentencing, but that's another topic for another day.
100%. Anyways, Dreyer was convinced that her attacker had also killed the Recker sisters, going as far as to visit and write to Welch while in prison and to ask that he confess. He denies any involvement. However, when investigators spoke to Welch about the exchanged letters, he said that Georgianne said some things about him that were accurate that a few people would know. And then law enforcement did not necessarily suspect Welch, but they also don't rule him out. Rita Recker and law enforcement are in agreement that the killer must have been from or familiar with the area. Rita believes that the murder had an accomplice, although law enforcement says it's only a possibility. She was actually a part of the Tri-County Crime Stoppers in that area for a while, and actually just retired last year.
It's so sad.
I know. In 2016, law enforcement confirmed that they believed the murderer was still alive and was likely young at the time of the murder. 2006 DNA testing of the girl's clothes didn't reveal anything. Fred Recker, the father, passed away in 2013. The Reckers had 4 more children who still speak to their sisters often, or who speak of their sisters often. Excuse me. The case was presented to Vic Doc Society in 2005, a Philadelphia nonprofit.
Oh, yeah.
Comprised of experts in various fields relating to criminal justice who supported law enforcement suspects at the time. Fred Recker and Marty Recker, who is her brother, are also strongly believe the killer was who law enforcement pointed to at the time, though there's no information that was given specifically about it. So basically, who do you think did it? As of now, it's still unconfirmed because there's no DNA evidence that they could find. I'm not saying that it was the hissing guy. But I think it was the hissing guy.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks.
Yeah, but also it totally fits the MO of
but
the second guy.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and that's the hard part,
say.
right? With circumstantial cases, you really need something else, and people always get so frustrated. But it's yeah, maybe he's a weirdo, but you need more than just that.
You need more than just a hunch, you know?
Yeah.
Which sucks, because some people you get the bad vibes.
Oh yeah, and there's always a good reason when you gotta listen to your vibes, man. But you just don't know.
Trust that intuition.
Well, that's really sad.
I know. So I mean, if you happen, to be from or know anyone in that area,
yeah.
I mean, anyone that might have seen something, especially if they were younger at the time, they do suspect that the perpetrator was in their late teens, probably.
Yeah. So probably still alive, like they said, because that wasn't. I mean, they'd be in their 60s, 70s,
right.
60s,
60s,
probably. Frick. Yeah.
It's all good.
I just moving to the dicking off section now. Yes. I was reading a news article about how they solved this murder from the 80s using forensic DNA, and it's just crazy because they essentially they knew it was this guy, and they had taken him to trial, but it ended up being kind of hung jury. So they just didn't have enough evidence to convict him. And 40 years later, they got his DNA, I think it was forensic DNA. Well, anyways, they got his DNA, and they matched it to the crime scene. It was absolutely that guy.
Oh my God.
And they rearrested him. I'll have to find that so I can link it. But yeah, I was reading that. I was like, wow. It's just incredible, what they're doing now.
Right? And, I feel like it's kind of gutsy to, maybe not take it to trial or whatever because of lack of evidence.
Yeah.
But,
Well, because then it, like, think about it. Oh,
right, because then you can't double jeopardy it.
Yeah, like he
like, so it's one of those things that's like real shitty because it's like you're I know it's this person,
but they just didn't
walk whatever.
Yeah, so Wes and I actually also were watching a documentary on Netflix, and it was the girl. I don't know if you've ever watched Cold Justice with on Oxygen. It's really good, but I
just got Oxygen, so I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So it's an old prosecutor, and then the first couple seasons there's an old crime scene investigator. Her name's Yolanda. Yeah. So they had her in this Oxygen, like it was like kind of a one-off episode. And they're essentially working to identify a Jane Doe that was found in Oregon in the woods. Like, she was dumped. They didn't know how she died because they just found her skeleton, and they had no idea who she was. Well, at the crime scene, they also found, like, a little bit of ways, like a bag of clothes and a clump of hair on a brush. So they're like, whoever drug her out here on this tarp, like, likely hit their head, and, like, it took out a huge chunk of hair.
Oh, shit.
Well, so they ended up, like, this whole investigation, they followed it over, like, 2 years. They identified who she was using forensic genealogy, so they traced her back. They figured out she had been adopted out by, like, a piece of shit dad. And she had other siblings she was separated from. Super sad, you know, had it pretty rough. She kind of fell in love with guys that weren't the one, had a couple kids and just, like, couldn't care for them. And, well, anyways, she went missing, and the husband she had been married to at the time didn't report her missing, got remarried. Red flags, right?
This is like some real Chris Watts shit.
There is literally a picture of him with her wearing the shirt that they found in the fucking bag near her body.
I'm not okay.
I was watching it and I'm like, are you dumb? Are you dumb? But anyways, it's so old now that they can't, like, you know, really hardcore. Well, I mean, they know it's his. I think they matched his DNA to that clump of hair that they found. But they can't prove how she died because she was just a skeleton. And though it's suspicious, right? Like, he's at the end of the episode, like, they hadn't arrested him yet, and Wes was like, oh my god, this is so dumb. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, technically
there's only so much you can do,
right?
If you don't have
you can't prove. Yeah, they can't determine her cause of death, essentially, is what happened.
Yeah,
so
and then you wouldn't be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and
right. So, like, she could have died of an overdose, and he just freaked out and dumped her. Like, either way, hopefully he'll get something, but, like, yeah, it was just wild.
He's trash.
Yeah, he's absolute trash.
He's trash.
Anyways, what about you? Anything interesting?
So, let's see. Ooh, I just, I'm about, like, 2/3 of the way done with the Jurassic Park, like, the novel.
Oh.
Very good. Very dark, though. So, if, like, you're not into that, you know, maybe don't. But, very, very good.
Good to know.
What else have we been doing? What have we been watching on TV, Zachary? We've been watching a fuck ton of Kitchen Nightmares lately.
Never seen it.
Oh my god, you've never seen Kitchen Nightmares?
Mm-mm.
So basically, like, these, like, restaurants, like, either ask for Gordon Ramsay's help or they get, like, nominated to, like, get his help. Oh. And, like, they all suck. And, like, usually they're, like, high-key kind of dirty.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All of that. Mm-hmm. And then he, like, flips them and, like, makes them all better and, like, teaches them, like, how to be successful business people and, like, chefs and shit. And it's very wholesome, but he also screams at them and, like, calls them fucking idiots.
Oh, listen, he did Hotel Hell,
same idea.
They did
but just the restaurant.
They did a episode at the restaurant my dad used to work at in Murphy's.
Wait, is it where I think it is?
The Murphy's Hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad doesn't work there anymore.
Well, no, but I just didn't want to, like, out them unless they're doing better now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they are.
I went to the bar there once, and it was not great.
Let me tell you, Jamie, it's an experience, okay?
I'll take your word for it.
That's all I'm going to say. If you go to Murphy's, go to the Murphy's Hotel Bar. You'll be in for a little treat. Calaveras County style.
I have, and you're correct. It is a TREAT treat.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's
my dad does not work there. Just
Murphy's Hotel Bar.
FYI, Dad does not work there anymore. Anyways, so it's
No.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so it was interesting. They did do that, and like some of the changes they made were real weird because it's a historic hotel, and like it just didn't look right. And I remember going in there after, and I was like, "What the fuck did they do?" But some of they ended up undoing some of it because it was like weird. They try to like modernize it, which I get, but like inside the actual hotel, it is historic, so it looked really out of place. Like there's a way to do it, and it wasn't the right way that they did that.
Very interesting.
So,
I'll
anyways,
find that episode and watch it.
You should. I'll find the episode title and I'll share it with you.
Bless your soul. It just reminds me, really quick aside, that totally reminds me of our old roommate. His like friend's mom was on an episode of like fucking Hoarders.
Oh shit.
And so like they were like briefly on the episode as like being like, yeah, like she's a fucking hoarder.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, my dad ended up. I was like pretty excited when it came out, but like my dad actually wasn't in the episode at all.
Damn.
They had like all of the dramatic people that worked there on the episode. My dad just wasn't enough drama, so.
No, he just worked there.
Yeah, he just was trying to get his bread and go home.
He was just vibing.
So. All right. Thanks for listening.
Yes. And we'll be back at you next week with another one.
Yeah. Okay.
Goodbye.
Farewell.